Welcome to the Rinkside Rundown podcast, your ultimate destination for all things women's hockey, with your host, Chris Sinclair, a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network. All right, and welcome back to the very first episode of the Rinkside Rundown podcast. I'm joined today by the one, the only, Noemi Neubauerová, a member of the Czechia national team and current player with Brynäs IF of the SDHL. How are you doing today?
Hey, thanks so much for inviting me here. And great pronunciation of my name, by the way. Way to go.
I really swept my way through that one, so I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I know that you've been obviously super busy, playing hockey, all that sort of stuff. So really appreciate the fact that you took the time, hang out with me. And we spoke about this a little bit off air, but I just want to make sure that everyone is aware. Again, not only is this the inaugural episode of the Rinkside Rundown podcast, but you are now the very first guest in the show's history. So congratulations. And I wish that I had a cake or some sort of like streamers or something for you. I wish I had all of that. I don't. I'll work on that. It's an IOU. That's what it is. This is just an IOU. So I appreciate you being here and you being so amazing to communicate with. You've been so enthusiastic. You were in from the moment I messaged you about this. So once again, just wanted to give you a huge shout out for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm really happy to be doing this. And so, yeah, let's do it.
Let's dive in. So what I have here, we have some, and I apologize, a lot of these are probably going to be things you've heard 1,000 times. But I promise you, or I'm fairly certain, at the end, I have some questions that are less hockey related, that are a little bit more fun, that will help, just like have some fun and maybe have the audience, the listener, get to know you a little bit more outside of just hockey, because I want people to get to know you for the incredible athlete you are, but also the incredible person you are. So how does that sound?
Sounds just great to me.
Perfect. Fantastic. Okay. So we're going to start way back. You were born in Czechia. Now there's conflicting, depending on where the source you're looking at, it's either Praha, Czechia, or Kolín, Czechia.
Yeah.
Is it the same place? Is it different?
It's different.
Okay.
Kolín is actually like an hour away from Prague, but I think I consider myself like a Prague person.
Okay, Prague. Good to know. Okay, so now we've set the record straight. Prague, Czechia. Okay? Yes?
Perfect. Yes.
Wonderful. Can you tell me a little bit more about, before hockey? What was it like growing up in Prague? What was it like? Do you have some favorite memories?
I feel like a lot of like my childhood was actually around hockey. So sometimes I joke around and I say I didn't even really have a childhood. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it was like busy. My mom wouldn't usually let me like go to school really alone. Like she would always drive me because Prague can be like pretty crazy city. So but definitely just the architecture and walking around like downtown of Prague is probably like one of my favorite memories just growing up there, still till this day. So
do you get a chance to, obviously, and we'll get to this in a moment, or in a little bit, but you're now in Sweden, I presume. Yes.
Mhm.
Do you get a chance to, I'm assuming you're going back, or do you get a chance to go back often? And if you do, what are some of those things that like, okay, I'm back in Prague, I have to check these things off my list?
So I don't get to go home like too often. Usually it's for Christmas and then summer. Now we actually have like an international tournament in Czech as well, so I get to be home for a little bit, so it's exciting. And for me, I definitely, whenever I'm in Prague, I have to go see the Charles Bridge. It's like my favorite.
Okay, so for the uninitiated, what makes you enjoy the Charleston Bridge?
Charles Bridge.
Charles Bridge. Sorry,
You
yes.
got it.
Tell us more about the Charles Bridge. What makes it such an appealing attraction to you?
It's just one of the like oldest, most historical bridges in Czech and in Prague, and it just carries so much history. And there's a really, really nice view of both sides of Prague, like the oldest town of the city, and then like the newer part. And I just love the view. You can see the castle from there too. So I think for me, that's what it is.
Nice. I love that. And you kind of had mentioned about your mom, but like, what was family life like for you? Are you, let's get really in deep with like getting to know you. Are you close with your family? Like, you have a number of a number of siblings. Like, what's your relationship with like, or like with your family?
Yeah, we're definitely a crazy family. I love my family. Definitely, I have the best relationship with everyone in my family. Really, I have three sisters and one brother. I am the only one playing hockey. Not even my parents ever really played hockey, so that's kind of like a weird, unique thing about me. Um, and I don't know, we used to travel a lot when I was younger. That was like a big thing with our family, and um, yeah, I don't know what else to say. But I'm very close with everyone. I love my family. I wouldn't be where I am without them, so I owe them a lot.
And this is that you actually provided me the perfect segue because I want to know a little bit more about, and we're going to get into, how you got into hockey and all that stuff in just a moment. But I want to know, like, this is something that, as someone who's now covering the Professional Women's Hockey League, this is something that's starting to come up a little bit more. But who are some of those mentors that you've leaned on, whether it was, early on or whether it's currently right now? Like, who are some of those mentors who just kind of keep you motivated, keep you inspired, whether it's you're having the highest of highs or maybe the lowest of lows? Like, walk me through what that looks like.
Yeah. So I think like a big source of just kind of inspiration, since I was younger, were some of the older girls that I actually am now playing with the Czech national team, and they still inspire me and they help me so much through, I don't know, difficult times when I need help with any little detail on the ice. I know I can trust them, and um, yeah, so they are definitely people I've looked up to since an early age. Actually, I don't know if you know Katka Mrazová. She's a player for Ottawa now, PWHL, and
Mhm.
we both grew up in Kolín before I moved to Prague, and she inspired me so much. I like watching her play hockey with boys. She was like rocking it, so I just wanted to be like her. And I remember one day I started playing hockey, and I was so bad at lifting the puck off the ground. So I invited her to my apartment, and my mom let us shoot the puck at like these doors that we had. So we like absolutely just destroyed the doors with the pucks. But she did teach me how to lift it, so super grateful for that. So I thought that was just kind of like a funny story.
I love that, and and we're gonna get into a little bit more of some of like some sort of like link to the Ottawa team with Carla McLeod.
Mhm.
But I love. I mean, selfishly, I live in Ottawa. I've been in the area my entire life, so to get this some sort of another connection between yourself and this team, and she played incredible. She is like the fans may not have known enough about her, didn't know enough about her, but when they saw her play, oh my goodness, the amount of you go on social media and like everyone is so thrilled and excited to see just in one game
Mhm.
what she's able to do. So I'm glad that she had such an influence on you, and it's always great to hear those like as a Canadian kid, like you always hear like the stories of like, you're in the driveway or whatever, and you're shooting pucks at the garage door or whatever. You had the same sort of experience, and that's amazing. And look at you now, right? So obviously that had a huge impact on your life, eh?
Yeah, definitely big one. Still remember till this day. So
yeah, I can tell it's very vivid for you. So that's fantastic. Yeah.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
I would like to take a moment to talk about our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. Please play responsibly. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023, all rights reserved.
And now, back to the show.
Yeah. And so I guess, natural segue is you had mentioned that none of your other siblings, none of your other family is in hockey. What made you decide, you know what, I'm not going to do what everyone else does and I'm going to do hockey? Like what got you into hockey?
Yeah. So when I was in kindergarten, they would like take us out for skating sometimes, and I actually like started to absolutely love it. I was like, most of the time I was on the ground, not gonna lie, but it was just super fun. So I told my mom, I was like, oh, like I want to skate more often, and I remember seeing hockey being on TV, and I was like, Mom, like I want to do that. So she was like, okay, whatever, like let's try it out. And she tells me now too that she's like, I thought you were gonna go for like 2 practices because it was at like 6 a.m, and you're gonna be like, all right, that's it. And apparently I was like super passionate about it and still wanted to go and skate. So that's how I ended up actually getting into hockey. And then also seeing Katka just playing with boys was like another level of inspiration for me. So I wanted to be as good as her. And so that's how I ended up playing hockey.
So what was it about, like, so you said you watched hockey. What was it about hockey that really attracted you to the sport? I mean, maybe it may be a completely obvious answer. It's fast, it looks fun, but maybe it's something else. And I'd love to hear what you think.
Honestly, I don't know. I have no idea. I barely really remember that I like apparently loved watching hockey. I was like 6 when I started going, so I don't really remember, but that's what my mom tells me, that I would like watch it and I'd like it, and I told her that I wanted to do it. So I have no idea what it was for me, but somehow it caught my attention.
Sometimes it's those things where you least expect it, like that's the career or that's the sport or whatever, that you're just like, you know what, I just love it. Like that's the end. Like there's no like profound answer. It's just, I love it,
Yep.
So it sounds like that's kind of
what it is.
similar to, is that similar to kind of how you're feeling?
Yeah, definitely.
And so obviously you're in hockey. What drew you to your position as forward? What was it like? Was there ever a doubt that you were going to play a different position, or was it, for me, I'm not even going to compare myself to any hockey player because I can barely skate. But I know that for me, I was like, I'm either going to play goaltender or I'm going to play defender, because then at least I don't have, arguably you have to skate really well, but I don't have to skate fast. And for me, that was a much more comfortable space for me. So that's why I always chose those positions, and I was never a goal scorer. So why forward for you?
That's a really good question. I actually started off as a defense, I think. I Yeah, that was
Oh,
my position.
we're getting some breaking news right now. This is
Yeah.
fantastic. I didn't read this anywhere. This is awesome.
I
You
think
heard it
thank
here
God I
first,
didn't.
folks.
I think I'm a much better forward than I was a defense, honestly. But I just went through the phases of like I actually wanted to be a goalie too, so I went to like goalie camps. I was so bad, but I was having so much fun. And my mom was like, "Nope, you're not gonna be a goalie." She's like, I hate to break it to you, but you're a much better skater, and you should just, She was trying to like nicely tell me that I'm not good. So that's actually hilarious. And I don't know, somehow I actually don't even remember who was the first like coach or what grade I was put on forward, but since then it just kind of stuck with me. I played center, I played wingers. Yeah, and it was the early age. It must have been like probably like second grade, third grade or something like that I started playing offense and been there since. So yeah.
All right, that's fantastic. Hey, listen, what's great is you got to explore the different options, right? So like it's just clear that hockey is a super passionate thing for you. But I do
Mhm.
respect and appreciate your mom for like finding a way to subtly tell you, "Hey, you know what? Let's not be a goaltender, you know?
Yep.
Let's look at your other
Definitely.
options."
Yes, and I'm very thankful because she was right. I don't think I would have made a very good goaltender. So
How long were you just quickly, how long were you a defender?
I want to say like 2, 3 years, something like that.
More breaking news. I love this. I love this. I
Yeah.
love this. Oh, that's fantastic. What was it like? What was it like being a defender, and how did you translate? Were you able to translate those skills to being a forward, or you were just like, you know what, I'm just a better forward?
I think it was all actually when I like was starting hockey. And I honestly think that I was put on defense because nobody really wanted to play defense and I was the only girl on the team. So they were just kind of like, "Yep, you're going to go play defense." So I think that's how it started for me. And then I don't I don't really even remember that I like there were different positions. I was just happy to be skating around and like not falling down all the time and sometimes holding the puck. So I don't like really remember the difference between like offense and defense when I started.
It was more just you were on the ice, you had skates on, and you were just like
Yep.
occasionally touching the puck, and that's all that mattered.
Yep. Somehow
Yeah.
I ended up in front of the net too as a defense. I remember that. So I
Ooh, yeah, that was a
yeah,
precursor to what your future career was going to be right there. That's for sure.
so
Yeah. Um, well, I mean, let's start kind of getting a little bit more into hockey.
Mhm.
Like, what are some of your favorite things? You kind of mentioned some of them, but what are some of your favorite things about hockey, and what ultimately just keeps you motivated and inspired to continue with your hockey career?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, first of all, just the opportunities that I got playing hockey, like traveling and getting the education and just meeting really, really awesome people. That is why like I am so grateful for playing hockey and for even ever starting to play hockey. And just I guess throughout like it is you get some ups and downs, sometimes you feel down, you don't feel motivated playing, but then it's the people around you that pick you up, or it's like a little change of scenery or something that you need that ultimately just gives you like like this is why I play, this is why I love it. So these are the reasons why I love this sport, and I'm so happy that I got the opportunity to meet all of those people and go to all of these different places. So
Mm.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And we're going to get into those experiences in those places in just a moment. But for maybe some of those fans who um, unfortunately haven't followed you as closely as they should, how would you describe your play? What makes like, what kind of, when you go out on the ice, what are you trying to achieve? Walk me through all that stuff.
Yeah. So I definitely do not consider myself like a flashy player. Like I will not be toe dragging anyone. And if you do see that, it's really, really rare. I try to just kind of be very disruptive for the other team. I try to be physical, big, and just kind of disrupt your passes and I guess your confidence a little bit in a way by being on you 24/7. And I like to be disciplined. I like to do things responsibly. Sometimes I take the risk and I don't know, make a risky pass or something, but most of the time, even in the D zone, I try to be very responsible. So I think that's probably how I would describe myself. I think that I can shoot. I think I can make good passes too, to create opportunities for my teammates. But yeah, I think I'm just trying to be very disruptive on the ice.
And that resonates with a lot of, especially fans who are used to the NHL game. That's sort of like, you want those. I don't want to call you a pesky player or something like that, but like those like hard nose. You're going to be aggressive. You're going to be, whether it's in the offensive zone, whether it's in the defensive zone, you're a threat to be able to get the puck, to be able to get it to your teammates. That's something that really, and like I said, resonates with NHL fans. And that's one of the many reasons. And again, we're going to get to it later. I keep saying that, but that's one of the many reasons why the PWHL, or, now that we have that league and people are starting to see more, at this point, they haven't been able to see women's hockey, like outside of world championships or whether it's Olympics or something like that. They haven't been able to see this style of play, but to hear you describe your play as that, I'm sure there are many listeners who are going to say, oh, I got to pay attention to this player. So I love that. That's what we need on a team. You need those players on a team. So you're filling a very valuable role. Thanks to your mom for pushing you out of net once again.
That's amazing. And thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah. We're going to get into your college career now. First of all, I'm going to shout you out here. So first of all, you chose Colgate to start with. Mm-hmm. You played 115 games with them. I don't know if you knew that, but 115 games. The cracked research team here at the Rinkside Rundown podcast went through all of your stats. So in 115 games, you scored 51 points. That's incredible. Walk me through like your collegiate career. What was that experience like? What made you choose Colgate?
Yeah. Great questions. Wow. Also, the stats, I actually didn't even know. So that's great.
I spent a lot of time on Colgate's website. Let me tell you that.
Love it. No, Colgate was definitely great. A lot of, I think, I got a lot of like good experiences from just being there and studying and playing hockey there. And it was intense 4 years, to be honest. It was not like the easiest school. It was actually pretty difficult school from the academics standpoint. So I did struggle a little bit at the beginning with schools, just kind of, being like the time management of like doing all my work and like studying and also doing my best playing hockey. So that was definitely something I struggled with my freshman year. Thankfully got out of that after that year. And then I was able to manage it a lot better. And then from a hockey standpoint too, that was definitely met amazing people that are like truly one of my best friends now, and I believe will be for the rest of my life, including some of the coaches there too, and staff, and people that helped us with academics and professors and all of that. So for me, like Colgate was like a really big kind of like life phase, I'd say, that I'm super grateful for. Of course, there were also some ups and downs, even with hockey. But at the end of the day, I am so happy that I went there and I spent my 4 years there, got my bachelor's degree, and met those people and got a lot of life experiences from there. Yeah.
Nice. And I mean, congratulations, I think is due. Absolutely. Congratulations for being able to sustain. Listen, I dropped out of university or college. Because I just found it to be a little bit too difficult to manage life and school, and you were able to manage life, school, and hockey. So that's fantastic. So congratulations.
Yes. Thanks. And I don't blame you. It's hard. So
Yeah.
it's a lot. So
yeah, it is. This and I have so many more questions for you. And once again, I just cannot thank you enough for taking the time to hang out with me again, to be my very first guest. This has been incredible. This has been so much fun. I promise I won't keep you too much longer. But I do want to know, so that my understanding is this is or going to Colgate was your second time in America, right? You went to the Gunnery, which is in, if I'm not mistaken, Connecticut.
Yeah. You got it right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Nailed it. This old noggin's still ticking. So, what was obviously this was I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was a longer experience. What was it like? Maybe not.
Yeah. It was it was the same. I was there for high school for 4 years.
Okay. What was it like coming to the US and that kind of adjustment? Did it make it easier when you'd already been in Connecticut and then you went to university at Colgate? Did that make it any easier, that transition?
Oh, definitely, 100%. First of all, my language improved so much. Like my English got so much better at Gunnery after spending 4 years there. So that helped a lot when you have to, do all these like difficult readings and writings when you get to college. So it definitely helped with that. And just in general, like cultural wise, I'd say, I don't know if that's a word, English word, but that it helped a lot too, because I got the time at Gunnery to just kind of adjust. I was very European, even the way I was dressing the first year there, and I got Americanized a little bit after. But I loved it. Like Gunnery was great. It was always my dream to go study and play hockey in the US. And at that time, I didn't really know that I was like gonna end up going to college there, but I was just hoping to be there for high school, because if you're in Czech and you're around the age of like 14, you don't have too many opportunities to play back home. You have to play with boys, and then the women's league is not like really the best level, so it's either you quit or you leave. And I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to actually go to Gunnery.
Nice. Fantastic. Yeah, it sounds like it was like a transformative experience for you, whether it was just with Gunnery or like contributing also to your experience with Colgate. So it sounds like it was exactly what you needed. And I love hearing that, you were like, this is my dream, is to go to the States and I'm going to play hockey and all that sort of stuff. And you made it happen. So once again, congratulations. That's incredible. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of sort of the broader women's hockey landscape, we've mentioned it a couple of times before, but the Professional Women's Hockey League. What does the Professional Women's Hockey League, what does that mean to you? What does it mean to now also, because maybe people aren't familiar with this, but typically women, unfortunately, once you graduated from university, sure, there were places in Europe that you could play, but there wasn't really an elite, not to diminish the SDHL or anything like that, but there wasn't sort of the best on best necessarily consistently outside of world championships or Olympics or anything like that. What does it mean to finally have best on best? What does it mean now, whether and we're going to get to this, and I hope there's some breaking news, but whether that's something you would want to do, or ultimately, like, what does this do for future generations of women who want to play professional women's hockey?
It's absolutely huge. Definitely. I mean, as like a professional player now too, like I am such a big fan of the PWHL. I think it's amazing. And the fact that it all started so fast, that they got it going, is pretty impressive. And you can already see how many people are going to watch. Like this is just the beginning. Like it just started, and it's gonna become even bigger than it is. And so for even someone like me, like I think it's an amazing opportunity to consider for the future, and for younger players too, to have the motivation to know that they you know, they can work hard and they can get to like the highest level. So I think it's really, really amazing that this is going on, and I'm so excited to see where it's going to take off and go further.
Yeah, and I would say absolutely echo that point. Listen, I went to the home opener for the Ottawa PWHL team, and it was off the charts amazing. And I think even, and it's I don't know, I don't want to say funny, but it's interesting when, you know, you look into the crowd, whether you're watching it live or you're watching the broadcast, and you're seeing these girls with their signs. One that stands out to me still to this day was making, instead of history, making her story. So kind of a play on that. And, you know, hockey is for girls as well. Like those signs and seeing those passionate girls in the stands is just, if you don't walk away from that being, you know, motivated and encouraged and inspired, I don't know what's going on, because this is such an incredible moment. But I do want to throw it back to you for 1 second, because you kind of threw a little nugget in there. This might be something you would want to look at.
Yeah.
Yes. More breaking news. This is fantastic. I was so hopeful that, based off of everything I've heard about you, read about you, I would love to see you in this league. So just make sure you sign with Ottawa. That's all I'll say. Yeah, no pressure. Yeah. That's fantastic. I love that. What, you know, as we kind of slowly start winding down this conversation, and again, I know I said it a couple of times, thank you, Noemi, for your time. I really, really do appreciate this. This has been so much fun. You've played some pretty serious international tournaments. You know, you've been in 4 world championships, 1 Olympic Games. What was that experience like? And I mean, first of all, congratulations once again. Like, that's incredible. But what was that experience like? What was it like, you know, being a part of that program? And not to mention, a big shout out to Czechia, right? Back-to-back, you know, Olympic bronze medals. That's the first time in history. This is the best the program has ever been. What's it like being you're a part of history. You're part of history. Don't let that go to your head. But it should. Absolutely. You deserve it.
No, it's funny you even say that, because to me it's like I don't think I even realized that, like, we actually, as a team, we made history like multiple times. We've never before won Olympic qualifications. We never went to the Olympics before as Czech. So like all of this, I'm just so grateful for all of the experiences. And let me tell you, it was not an easy journey. It was a lot of crazy things happening, and that involves just like different coaches, and COVID also threw a nice curveball into it. So just a lot of crazy things. And again, like, just knowing that, like, we've showed people in Czech that we can play really good hockey. And again, I think we've inspired a lot of the younger girls, and there's more girls starting to play hockey now who can see that, like, there is a point to play, that you can like really reach the top, you know. So it's things like this that like really, really gets me going and excited.
And for our audio listener, I just want you to know, Noemi right now has been basically smiling this entire time as she's gone through this her answer, and that should show you how stoked and excited she is, not only for her experience throughout this, in the international experiences that she's had, but also what this means for future generations. So I just wanted to make sure that people knew just how thrilled you are and how passionate you are for the growth of the game, for what this means, especially for back home in Czechia. You know, Czechia makes some noise, and people have slept on or sleeping on Czechia, and they need to stop doing that. Whatever sport it is. Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but they've been playing incredibly well, right? So really excited to see the growth. It's always great when you have the opportunity to see programs where it's like, oh, great, Canada, US in the finals or whatever, right? Like it's always the same old, Sweden, Finland, those sorts of things. But when you start seeing, Czechia, Germany, all these other countries starting to really up the investment that they're putting into their programs and the players and the experience that they want to create for their players, it's so incredible for the growth of the game. And again, more specifically for the women's game, which deserves way more credit than it's getting.
Yeah, I agree with you too.
Nice. Thank you. A few more questions for you, and then we're going to get to a little bit of a fun segment where I'm just going to ask you mostly not hockey related questions. Okay.
Sounds good.
So for the Ottawa PWHL crew, fun fact for anyone who didn't know, Carla McLeod, who's the head coach of the Ottawa PWHL team, also coached Czechia to back-to-back bronze medals. You were a part of one of those teams. Could you tell us a little bit more about her as a person as well as her as a coach?
Yeah, Carla is great in terms of like getting us going, like in the locker room. She's a very good public speaker. Like she knows exactly what you need to hear in between periods or before games. So I think that is something that like really kind of like inspires us and gets us going and wants us to play our best every game. And I mean, I don't think she has like two different personalities on and off the ice. I think she's just being her like all the time, and she's super easy to just approach and talk about anything. And if there's anything bothering you, if you have any questions about anything, if you want to ask like what you can be doing better and stuff, like you can always go to her and she'll help you out and always be there for you. Same with on the ice, like she's trying to keep like a relaxed environment within our team. So she like throws like jokes around and isn't afraid to just laugh, while also I think all of us have a lot of respect for her. So it's like a nice balance that we have with Carla and Team Czech. So yeah,
I can confidently say I had a chance to speak with her I was an interview with myself and a colleague of mine. I can't echo those points more. Like she's just such a great, I tell people all the time, obviously outside of her hockey IQ and on how she sees the game, like that is, don't get me wrong, is incredible, but it's also how like down to earth and how great she is as a communicator. I just think, whether you're watching her at practice or whether you're listening to her at a post-game, pre-game press conference or whatever, she is just such a confident communicator, and she's just so much fun to be around. Like I looked to my buddy as we were covering one of the practices, and we both agreed like we would run through a wall for this woman. She is absolutely incredible, and it sounds like she had that sort of impact on you.
Yeah, she definitely does. All the points you said are true. So she's definitely a strong personality, and I think she's great for us as Team Czech. So
nice, and she's great for us as Team PWHL Ottawa. So I'm excited. I think people are here in Ottawa are definitely going to start, if they haven't already, are going to start picking up on some of those things you were mentioning. So I'm super excited about that. I want to transition one last question before some fun. Okay. Not that we haven't had fun. We've had fun.
Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Don't sell ourselves short here, Chris. I want to hear a little bit more. So you are currently playing in the SDHL, where you, at least at time of writing this, researching this, you had 9 points in 24 games. That may have changed, so my apologies if that's not entirely accurate, whether it's now or whether it's the posting of this podcast. But point is, you're having a good year. What's your experience been like playing for Brynäs? Brynäs. Thank you. definitely looked into that one a bunch. And why did you choose that club? What's it been like in living in Sweden?
Yeah, funny thing, I actually like did not even expect myself to ever come to Sweden. I was very set on staying in the States. I mean, after all, I've been there for 9 years, so I didn't really have any plans of moving to Sweden. But then, the whole thing with PHF kind of happened, and it was a lot of stress. And one of my very good friends and also a teammate on Team Czech plays for Brynäs, and she was kind of like, oh, like, hey, I think you should just like, just have a call, like try it out, like just listen what like the coaches have to say. So I was like, okay, whatever, like I'll try it. But I was still very set on, like staying in the States. And then I actually started talking to the coaches, and I began to like really, really enjoy it. Like it kind of gave me like the hook to come and explore it here. So I did. So I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's do it. Another adventure, right? So then I came here, and I think it was an absolutely amazing decision for me to be here. I feel like my whole life kind of slowed down a little bit, just after like the stress with school and just kind of, I don't know, like I feel like I needed like another shift of like just like a change, So like I said, like my life kind of slowed down here. There's not that much to do around here in a little town of Gävle. And I love it here. I love the girls, I love the team and the coaches. It's really, I think it's exactly what I needed after being done with college and college hockey. So super, super grateful for coming here and playing here.
Okay, I need to ask, what are some of the highlights of living there outside of like the incredible your incredible teammates, the coaches? What's the culture like? Listen, I grew up in a small town, so I get the whole like there's really not a lot going on, so I get that. But like, do you have a favorite spot that you like to go to? Do you have like, whether it's a park, whether it's a library, or maybe it's a good pub or something like that? What are some of the places that you like to, some of the highlights?
Yeah. Well, I absolutely love going downtown. It's not really big, but it's cute. We actually do have a mall here, a little one, but still counts.
Yeah, that's
And
what matters.
so that's great. And they have like a coffee chain. It's called Espresso House. So we always do they call it fika. Like we go get fika, which kind of means to get coffee and maybe like a little cake and socialize and talk. So that's what we like to do here. Just go and grab some fika and stay at Espresso House and chat with my teammates. And sometimes I just go there and I read, do something on my computer. Like I enjoy, like I think I have a lot of time here for myself and just kind of do my things and like focus on like the readings that I wanted to do that I don't have to do for school necessarily. So this, I think, is what like really, and just like in general, I feel like people here like are so relaxed. Like nobody's rushing anywhere. Like you can ask for coffee and you can wait like a bit to get it because like people are just like in no rush, and I actually love it. So that's also what I meant when my life kind of slowed down here a little bit. That's another cultural thing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that that's obviously something that's clearly appealed to you based off of, especially when you're going to school. You have you're in a different country. You're also trying to play. You're playing hockey and all those sorts of things. That like it feels like there's no downtime. There's no time to be able to be like, you know what, like.
Yep.
Let's breathe for a second. This is great. And now it sounds like you're breathing all the time, which is great. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. We're going to get to the fun stuff now. Okay.
I'm
ready?
nervous.
Yeah. You should be. These are hard hitting questions. Questions. Okay. So I know that I said most of these are going to be not hockey related. There will be some that kind of tie into hockey. I would presume like 2 or 3. So I tried to keep them not hockey related, but bear with me. First question, the most difficult of all. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, shoot.
Okay. The look in your eyes, you're like, oh no, what is he gonna ask? What is your go-to pre-game meal?
Ooh, I'm like really boring, and it's just pasta. Pasta with like Alfredo sauce and pesto.
I should
know,
have written that down because I should have seen that one coming. That's like the most like stereotypical hockey player answer ever. You mix Alfredo and pesto?
Yeah, it's actually really good.
I have never in my life become a huge pesto fan. I've never in my life heard combining the two.
That's too bad. It's really good with Alfredo sauce, so
All
you can
right,
try
well, here we go. Now more breaking news. Try Alfredo sauce and your pesto sauce
Yep,
on your
I
pasta. I
recommend.
love it. I love this. I love this. Okay. Do you have any like game day rituals or superstitions?
I used to, but recently I started to just kind of stay away from them because I tried to convince myself that I like superstitions are not real. So I would say no, actually.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I'm realizing all of these questions so far have been hockey related, so that's great news. I lied to you. I apologize. And this next one also will. So if you weren't playing hockey, what would you be doing? You studied and you have a degree in psychological and brain services and writing at Colgate. If you weren't doing hockey, is that something you would want to get into, or would it be something else?
Definitely that. I enjoyed psychology a lot in college, and I think that's something I want to focus on after I'm done playing hockey. So it would definitely be something in that area.
Is there something in particular, like, is there a field that you'd want to get into, or is it just kind of, you know what, just as long as I'm in that sort of realm, that's all that matters?
I think I'd like to work with athletes just with I think I like my own experience would help me a lot with that, and but not necessarily only in like how to get like motivation going and like stuff like that, but really even get in depth with like mental health issues and athletes. Like I think that's something I would enjoy just to help out any way I could.
Love it. Yeah. And especially these days, more than ever, it's mental health is definitely at the forefront and being more recognized. So I can absolutely respect and appreciate that. So that's a fantastic answer. So I guess you've kind of shared, when you're not at the rink, are you solely at this coffee house? Is that what are some of those other things that you're doing when you're not at the coffee house or at the rink?
I do spend a lot of time in my apartment and just kind of like reading or watching Netflix.
Okay.
I feel like
well, now I have to ask, what are you reading and what are you watching on Netflix? Maybe let's get some more breaking news.
Definitely no surprise, reading a lot about psych and just stuff like that. I actually kind of miss learning, so I think I'm just trying to like learn from reading. And Netflix, I don't know. It's just kind of like whatever I guess comes in as like a recommendation. I give it a shot. I don't really have like one specific genre, let's say.
I love that you trust the algorithm. I appreciate that. That's fantastic. It knows me better than I know myself, so I'll just let it take care of it. Yeah,
that is so true.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I'm no athlete, so I don't know about this sort of cheat meal sort of scenario. But I want to know, like, what is a cheat meal for you? Like, what actually, not like what like theoretically is a cheat meal, but what's something that you really enjoy treating yourself with? A lot of people are saying cheat meals, don't do cheat meals, just eat, in moderation. But like, what's really indulgent to Noemi?
For me, it's definitely this like really bad for you meal that is super typical in Czech. It's called svíčková. It's so unhealthy, but it's so good. So that's like definitely something I would eat and probably have a beer on side. I think that's
okay. So I don't know anything about this meal, but this sounds fantastic. You have to describe it in more detail because it sounds like it's exactly what I want to have right now.
It's like it's this like sauce that's just, it's like very creamy, but it has like mixed up vegetables in it, but it's kind of sweet. And you have like this like cranberries on the side with whipped cream, and then you have dumplings. Like this, it's like this big loaf that you kind of cut up into pieces, and so you have like 4 of them with it. It's like not, it's not very good for you, but it's so good.
It may not be good for you, but I can promise you my mouth is watering now. So that's fantastic. Yes, that sounds right up my alley. There was not an ingredient you mentioned that I'm not all into. So make sure to send me the recipe because that sounds fantastic. Yeah. Lastly, before I let you go, what is on your music playlist? And when you're at the gym or whether you're, working out or whatever, what's on your playlist?
A lot of Nicki Minaj.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have a go-to banger?
It kind of changes.
Okay.
It changes. It depends on like the vibe I'm feeling, I guess, in the moment. But a lot of rap, like 21 Savage, Travis Scott. In the gym, definitely big booty mixes. That's a big one for me.
Fantastic. I'll make sure to subscribe to that playlist as well. That's fantastic. Okay, before I let you go, I'd love to give you a chance to kind of shout out some of the things that you're working on. What's next for you? You had shared off air about your podcast. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about that podcast here. What's going on? Tell me about any sort of things you want to leave the audience with.
Oh, you really you asked a question. I can talk about this for like a very long time.
Listen, I am free. It's all about you right now. So you tell me what you want to talk about. That's all good.
I guess I'll start with I guess it's just kind of related to like impacting the younger generation. So I don't know if you ever find yourself in the Czech Republic. We have an amazing project going on right now. It's called Through Generations. We want to kind of use that to help players, young girls, develop their skills and feel comfortable and relaxed in an environment where you can practice with just girls, because usually in Czech it's just you have to play with all the boys. So we're trying to kind of create that environment there, and that whole thing. Through Generations actually started a podcast too with one of my friends who's one of the main people that's leading that whole project. So it's called Through Generations Podcast. So if you ever want to listen to it, I think we're going to be starting soon. So that's another thing. And I guess I also just want to thank you so much, Chris, for inviting me and being your first guest on this podcast. I appreciate it so much. It's been a great interview. Absolutely loved it, enjoyed it. And and just whoever's listening to, like, I hope you love hockey. I love you support women's hockey, and maybe we'll see each other one day.
Nice. Fantastic. Yes, that's what this podcast is all about, is being able to connect fans with the incredible athletes like yourself. It's all about women's hockey and the growth of this game, how inspiring all of you are. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for coming on this podcast. Thank you for everything you're going to do moving forward, which includes hopefully one day signing with PWHL Ottawa. I'm just going to keep kind of planting that seed just so that we know that this was meant to happen. But once again, thank you so much, Noemi, for coming on today. Thank you for being my very first interview. Thank you for being my very first guest. You have been so... I said, you know what, like it'll be 20 to 30 minutes. Here we are, almost an hour, and you're just like super down, and it's just fantastic. So please make sure for anyone listening, anyone watching out there, please make sure, go give her a follow on social media. Make sure that you're following her. Her career is incredible. She's doing incredible things. And I just want to say once again, thank you to Noemi Neubauerová for joining us today. And good luck as this season progresses. Good luck in your career. And this has been the very first episode of the Rinkside Rundown podcast. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.